architect.
David Colby,
Yes.
His firm eventually became Harriman Architectural Firm. But many of his buildings are on the National Register here locally. The Holman Day House in Auburn, which is just above that Rite Aid on Court Street.
Oh, that one of the turns?
Yes, yes. The Dominican Block, the Senator William P. Fry House, the Cora Temple, the Dingley Building, that is the headquarters for the Lewiston School Department, the Lewiston Public Library on the corner of Pine and Park, Roque Block in Auburn, the industrial building, which is now elderly housing. And those are just some of his. And I have this very nice, well, his Coombs and his staff, hard at work, or at least they took a break for the camera. So Coombs right here. And here's an architectural drawing of the Dominican block on Lincoln Street in Lewiston, which has just been renovated. We're waiting to see what's going to go in there.
That's where that band played, right?
It's been renovated and empty.
The Pine Tree Warriors.
Yes, yes.
FX Warren.
They were a band, weren't they?
Yes, across
they were
the
a
street
marching
from
band.
Marquette's,
Yeah.
and that's where the Pine Tree Warriors used to be.
So they're trying to put something into that building?
Music Hall, which is now the courthouse on Lisbon Street. He was the manager, and he said it said that he would be in the wings just in case any naughtiness occurred on stage. And I don't know what he would do about it, whether he had a hook or what he did, but that's the story, that he was the censor as well as the manager.
Nobody wanted to find out.
What he would do?
What he would do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You want to have access to
Yeah.
that?
Sure.
Yes.
He was an orphan who was apprenticed to Asa Garcelon, a tanner. Daniel went on to make boots and shoes. He eventually had a business on the corner of Lisbon and Main Streets, across from the so-called Gateway Building, where he lived and also produced the shoes for the Union Army in the Civil War, and made his fortune. But he also was dabbled in real estate, not more than dabbled, and so made quite a bit of money. Indeed, he became the richest man in Lewiston in the 1860s, 70s period. So it was before the industrialists lived here. It was only later that there were others that surpassed him. But he was very active in Lewiston politics, and served on in the state senate and the governor's council. So he paid homage to this poor boy made good.
On the street named after him?
Oh yes, oh yeah, here he is. Here he is. Nice looking fellow.
I like his hair.
And his house, well, he had several houses, but his last house was on corner of Holland and College Streets. And Holland Street is named after him. And so this is on the National Register. So there's still evidence of his being here. So that's my formal presentations. I'm not sure what I'm going to say as we go through, but we'll be going out that direction toward that house there, which is the main entrance to the cemetery.
and we'll see the tomb for overwinter burials.
And we'll take it back on the road.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
We note that there are 3 dates. There's the original founding, 1867. Could be, I speculate that this 1897 was an addition, the tomb, and then I don't know whether the 1910 refers to the, just they put that on top, or what the date signifies.
Was it always called Riverside?
Yeah.
It's not like they named it.
No, it isn't that the name changed. So,
They didn't like call it Evergreen Cemetery or something like that. I don't remember.
And then that gate that you originally showed us, right, was it right there where the stone gate is now? You know, the postcard that you showed us first?
oh, the gate, yeah, the gate was there.
Yeah, it's strange it has 2 different dates.
Yeah, well, I speculate that they may have added on to the tomb and they dated the addition. Although they certainly look consistent
There's one, yeah.
as one.
Maybe they didn't establish it until that particular date as that.
You know, I attempted to look in the Google archives in the newspapers with regard to what might have happened, but the problem is everyone's buried in the Riverside Cemetery and the Google brings up everybody.
Ah.
So I just can't research the Riverside Cemetery.
Could you search Evergreen Cemetery?
Well, I could search that.
History of?
Is that?
Yeah. I'm just something in my mind says something about an Evergreen Cemetery.
Okay. We'll take a look at that.
And maybe I'm thinking of a different town.
Must be, yeah.
So this could have been Evergreen
Yeah.
first and then Riverside.
Yeah, there's a GAR cemetery over there. That is maintained and owned by the city of Lewiston. So it's a separate. And there's a so-called city lot, which was the paupers' graves. And I'm not sure where that is, whether that's in there or not. But
There's a place down at the end there where there are graves that are sort of off by themselves. Would that
where is that?
at the end of
Oh, at the end of that?
Yeah, would that
I haven't
happen
actually been in that one.
in the
So.
road? And I've always kind of wondered about those graves because they're off, kind of in a lonely spot.
Well, it could be the city. It could be the city paupers' graves.
Or maybe that they were deserving of being buried in the cemetery.
They didn't have enough money to bury them in the big place.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Or outcasts.
The paupers, or yeah.